Hey there, I really appreciate you stopping by. I've got an awesome video in the works that I can't wait for you to watch. Now, I assume you saw the title and you're curious about extreme long-range calibers and my opinion on what maybe the best choice is. And we're gonna go through that in this video. Before we start, I wanna kind of give you an overview of what I'm gonna do downrange and the rifle setup. So the rifle setup, Barrett MRAD, it's all factory. I've got a 300 PRC barrel, 26-inch, shooting the 230 ATIP at 2875. I've got a 26-inch 338 Lapua Magnum, shooting the 285 ELD at 2800. Both of those are hornady bullets. They both cost roughly $1 a piece. Scope-wise, it's a nightforce 7-35 with the Tremor 3 reticle in it. Awesome piece of glass, plenty of elevation to get us out to a mile and beyond. So that's the rifle setup. What are we going to do on the range? So I want to show you groups at 100 yards in my 0. So we'll put a couple rounds at 100. And then we will move out to steel. I want to get a full-size IPSC at about 1500. And I want to get my 30-inch circle at about a mile. So my intent with this video is to show you hits. I don't want to shoot and have a bunch of misses 2,000 yards and beyond. To me, that's not valuable, especially for someone that maybe that's looking to get into extreme long range, or you're trying to decide what caliber to move to in extreme long range. So I want to show you realistic distances, and I want to show you the ability to make hits with both of these calibers. I know when I was first looking to get into extreme long range, 338 Lapua Magnum was everywhere. Every forum, everything I Googled, 338 Lapua Magnum is king. But in my opinion, maybe it's not. So I'm not going to give you my decision yet. I want you to watch my video and wait for my conclusion at the end. But my question is 338 Lapua Magnum the king for extreme long-range shooting? Or do things like the 300 Magnums outperform it for less money, less recoil, more accuracy? Who knows? So I want to show you realistic, what's the difference from a kind of a practical shooter's mindset, which is myself. You know, I'm not out here to compete. I'm out here to plink away at steel. I want to do that cost effectively and have fun. So before we get started, I do want to mention, obviously I'm partnered with Madison Armament. There'll be a link in the description to their website. They're kind of a new startup, just like myself on this channel. And I'd encourage you, go check them out. See if there's anything that you're in the market for that maybe they can hook you up with. And I've got a special treat for you at the end of the video regarding Madison Armament. So make sure you stick around and check that out. So let's pop down to 100 yards. Let's get this thing zeroed. Then we'll move out to steel. I'll show you that, and then at the end of the video, I'll give you a conclusion, give you my opinion on how these two calibers stack up, and where I'm going to spend my time for extreme long-range shooting. Thank you.
All right, 3 rounds, 100 yards. There's 3 dots out there. I'm going to shoot the bottom dot. Let's see how she does with the 230 ATIP. We'll check our 0 and check for groups. Not much mirage, so we'll give it a go. All right, decent group. 2 of them right in the black, 1 of them dropped a little bit low. I'll walk you down. Okay, here we are approaching the 100-yard target. We just fired 3 rounds at that bottom dot. And you can see it's zeroed pretty decently. I'm gonna call that probably like a 1/2 inch-ish group. So yeah, it's right in the ballpark of a 1/2 inch. I mean, 3 rounds is not crazy, but gives you an idea what we're working with. So let's stretch it out. Okay, I just got back from setting the target out there. I ranged it with my SIG. It's 1465. Unfortunately, I brought the wrong batteries for the Raptor, so kind of a fail there. But I got 3 rounds loaded up. I haven't shot out there yet, so I was going to show you the first 3 rounds, see if we could get it on the plate within 3. Again, 1465. I'm dialed up 11.6. It's almost dead calm, but I'm still going to favor just a little bit left, probably a 1/2 mil left. There's a slight left to right out there. So let's send 3 rounds, see if we can make some contact. There's a hit indicator light on the plate. It should light up. I got a GoPro down there, so you should be able to see it. All right, a 1/2 mil left. Here we go. Oh, just off the right edge. All right. Let's increase that wind hold. I'm gonna go to 0.8. Here we go. Impact. Second round hit, 1465. Let's go I'm gonna go 0.9. It was just on the right edge of the plate. Oh, just under it. So 1 for 3, first 3 rounds. Okay, I've loaded up 5 more rounds at 1465. Let's see what we can connect with. I've come up to 11.8 mils. My hits were a little bit low on the plate. My indicator light also fell off the target, so it's a little bit hard to see the impacts with the low light, but let's send 5 rounds and see how we can connect. I'm gonna hold 0.9 left. Just off the right edge. Okay, I'm gonna go 1.1. Impact. Let's stay at 1.1. Impact. Here we go at 1.1. Impact. One more, 1.1. Impact. So that was 4 for 5 at 1465. Holding 1.1 mils of wind, 11.8 of elevation. We'll see how the 338 does tomorrow night. So I ran my 30-inch circle out to what turns out to be about 1,810 yards. I've dialed up 17 mils. I'm gonna hold like 1.2 mils to the left. It's still pretty calm, but a little bit of a left to right with a breeze coming. 30 inches is pretty generous. Man, the sun is sinking fast, so it's getting pretty dark. I'm gonna shoot this on about 18 power. These are my first 3 rounds. We'll see if I can connect or at least see my splashes. If I can't, we'll have to shut down till tomorrow night. So let's give it a go with these 3 rounds and see what happens. All right, 1.2 to center. All right, low right. I need to come left to 1.5. I need to come up probably 0.5. All right, here we go, 1.75. Impact, second round, 1.75. I'm gonna cut that down to 1.6. Impact, 2 for 3 at 1810, first 3 rounds. I've got 5 more loaded up. This will be my last 5 of the night because it's getting pretty dark. But man, I can actually see some mirage now moving left to right. So 5 more, 1810, 1815, whatever it is. 17.6 mils out there. I'm going to hold left 1.6 with this first round. Let's see what happens. All right, 1.6 to the left. Impact. Impact. I'm going to cut that back to 1.5. Just off the right edge. All right, let's go back to 1.6. Didn't see it. Oh, man, it's tough to see out there. Let's go 1.6, 1.75. I cannot see those misses. That's it. So I think that was 2 for 5. What is that? Technically 4 for 8. And those misses, I can't see them right now to correct. So that's probably part of it. But we'll see what the GoPro shows. So I ran down here to my target to get the GoPro after shooting at 1810 with a 300. And I discovered I actually made 5 hits on that string out of 8 rounds. My indicator light fell on the ground, so I apparently missed at least 1 hit. So 5 for 8 with a 300 at 1810. Just for fun, I'll show you the shooting position. So it's the top of that knoll, down that valley there. That's where we're at, 1810. So I've put my 338 barrel on. We're at the 100-yard line. I haven't put any rounds through it yet. Scope is still zeroed to the 300. So I was gonna put 2 rounds down there, see where they impact, show you that, and then correct up to a 100-yard zero. So this will give us an idea of what the shift is between these 2 barrels. And it should give us an idea of what the groups look like. So these first 2 rounds, hopefully they'll be close together. But then the second 3 is what I'm really looking for the zero. So here we go, 2 rounds, and then I'll go 3 for a group. Okay, looking at those 2 impacts, they're about 4/10 low of the dot. So I'm gonna dial up 4/10 and then put 3 more rounds in and shoot a group and to confirm that zero. I adjusted up 4/10. Now let's shoot 3 rounds down there for a group, check the zero. It's worth noting, I'm shooting the same piece of paper I shot with the 300. So there's 3 dots out there. The 300 hit the bottom dot. Those last 2 rounds I put on the middle dot, and these final 3 I'm gonna put on the top dot, and then I'll walk you down. So 3 rounds, here we go. Shot an awesome group. I'll walk you down. Elevation's good. I got to come to the right 2/10. I'm going to call that zero, but let's go take a look. Walking up to the target we just shot. Let's take a look. So remember we shot the 300 at this bottom dot. So there's our 3 rounds there. I did not adjust anything. Threw the 338 barrel in, fired 2 rounds. First round, second round. So a little bit low, it's about 4/10. I adjusted up 4/10, and then I fired 3 rounds, which are here. Which I'm gonna throw the tape measure on that. I bet that's about, I don't know, 2/3 MOA, just shy of 3/4. So not a terrible group, but I still need to come to the right about 2/10. I'm gonna adjust that in my knobs, and let's move out to steel. So we made it back out here tonight to shoot the 338. I had to wait a couple days to get similar wind conditions. So tonight it's really calm. There's a little bit of a left to right. So I'm definitely gonna be favoring left just like I was with the 300. Target is in the exact same position, 1465. I got 3 rounds loaded up. Let's see if we can get the 338 on steel, and then we'll shoot 5 rounds. So I've dialed up 12.7 mils. This first round I'm gonna favor left edge. Probably a 1 mil left hold, actually. So I'm going to start with 1 mil to the left. Here we go, 3 rounds. Okay, just off the right edge. I'm going to go 1.4 left. Ooh, just off the right edge. Okay, I'm going to go 1.5. Impact. Looks like that was on the left edge, so wind's messing a little bit. Let's put 5 rounds, put them on the steel. 5 rounds loaded up, 285 ELDs, 1465 full-size IPSC. Here we go. 12.7 dialed in. I'm going to favor left 1.3 based on where my hit was. Let's see how we can do with 5. Impact. Just off the left edge. I'm going to cut my wind hold back. 1.2. Impact. Let's go 1.2. Impact. Oh, just off the right edge. So 3 for 5, 1465. The wind might be moving around a little bit, but we're making hits. I don't know what happened with, I don't know if I short stroked it on the bolt, but either way, 3 for 5, 1465. So let's move out to our target at 1815, just a little bit over a mile. I've got 3 rounds loaded up. Let's try to get on steel. It's clean. There's no hits on it currently. I've dialed up 18.7. I can definitely see some left to right mirage down there. And based on my 1465 yard performance, my hits were a little bit on the right edge of the plate, so I'm going to continue to favor left. I think I'm going to start out holding 1.6 mils left, and we'll send a round down there, see what happens. Here we go, 3 rounds. Let's get on steel. Okay, 1.6 left.
Okay, just to the right elevation, I need to come up 2/10. So that's up 2. Now I'm going to hold 2.2. 2.2 to center. Ooh, I didn't see it. Let's try one more. I'm going to come back to 2. Impact. 6 o'clock on the plate. Okay, so 2 mils. I'm going to come up another 1/10. Let's put 5 on it. Okay, I've got 5 rounds loaded up, 285 ELDs. I've dialed up 19 mils. I got on steel with the previous 3 rounds. Let's put 5 on right now and see how we can do. I'm going to start out holding 2 mils of left windage. Here we go. Impact. Right edge of the plate. Let's go 2.2. Impact. Left edge of the plate. Let's cut it back to 2. Oh, just dropped off the 4 o'clock. I'm gonna go to 2.1. Impact. One more at 2.1. Impact. 4 for 5 at 18:15, just a little over a mile, so it's hammering. So I ran down to grab my hit indicator light, which you probably saw on the GoPro, actually fell on the ground after that first hit. But I wanted to clarify my impacts on the plate. So remember, I went 1 for 3 in those first 3 rounds, and then in the string of 5, I called out 4 impacts, but one of them wasn't a confident impact. Well, I see now I actually hit the T-post below my plate. So I was technically 3 good hits at 18:15 with a 338 Lapua, with one that hit the T-post and then one that dropped, I think, off the 4 o'clock, if I remember right. So 4 hits out of 8 rounds at 18:15 total. Wow, what an awesome time that was, stretching the 300 PRC and the 338 Lapua Magnum out to a mile. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you sticking around. Let me take just a couple of minutes and wrap up my thoughts and give you a conclusion on maybe my opinion of the premier extreme long range caliber, or where I would start if I were getting into this game. So to summarize, we shot on paper at 100 yards, and the 300 shot an awesome group. I mean, it was probably sub half minute. Great group, zeroed, cool. 338 Lapua Magnum, it shot a very nice group, 3 rounds, probably 2/3 MOA. I was just a little bit left, and I corrected that to get my 0, but both of them, they're exceptional shooters. Sub MOA, no problem. I didn't buy this rifle to shoot paper at 100 yards, so I don't spend a ton of time there. I bought it to go extreme long range, 1 mile plus. So 100 yards, we're good. We can agree that both calibers are very capable of accuracy acceptable to make these hits. Beyond that, we stretched out to 1465 on a full-size IPSC. And this is where we started to see a little bit of difference in the performance of these 2 calibers. So if I remember right, the numbers off the top of my head, with a 300 PRC, we were 11.8 mils to 1465. and the 338 Lapua, we were 12.7 mils. So almost a 1 mil advantage to 1,465 yards between these two calibers. Then we moved out to 1,815 yards, and the difference got even bigger. So if I remember there, we were 17.6 with the 300 PRC, and we were 19, I probably could have been 19.1 with the 338 Lapua to make hits. Now, advantage there, definitely the 300 PRC is a little bit flatter shooting, and I like that. It gives you more room for error. It gives you more adjustability in your scope to get way out there. So advantage 300 PRC to trajectory and flat shooting. Accuracy at distance, in my opinion, it was a wash. Some of that might have been me, especially on the windage. So 300 PRC, if I remember right, we went 4 for 5 at 1465, and we went 5 for 8 at 1815. Very consistent, very capable of making hits. Then the 338, I went 3 for 5 at 1465, and I went 3 for 5 at 1815, or 4 for 8 if you include the first round. So both of them out there at 1815, very comparable. In my opinion, a better shooter probably could have done better. I'm not an expert shooter by any means, but I'm happy with my performance. So accuracy-wise, I'm going to call it a wash. Next up, what did I notice as the shooter? Recoil. 100% hands down, advantage to recoil goes to the 300 PRC. It's noticeably lighter than the 338 Lapua Magnum in the recoil department. Why does that matter? Neither one of them are bad, but it matters being able to spot your impacts, being able to make corrections for that next shot. So that 300 PRC, it was in my shoulder tight, it was in the bag tight, really didn't move around a whole lot under recoil, very, very smooth. The 338, it definitely moved around. I definitely had to kind of control the rifle and drive it a little bit harder to be able to see my impacts and correct. So advantage 300 PRC. Spotting impacts downrange, kind of a wash. In these conditions, I could see both equivalent. 300 PRC, I could see enough splash. 338, I could see enough splash. No problem there. So energy on target, definitely there's an advantage in 338 because of the bigger bullet, but for practical long-range shooting, in these conditions, it's very dry out here. We're in a wheat field. I can see impacts on the plate. I can see misses, no problem, so it's a wash. Next up, let's talk about reloading. So 300 PRC, I'm shooting 78.1 grains of H1000 powder. 338, I'm shooting 91.4. So substantially more powder in the 338 Lapua Magnum to do a very similar job. So a lot more powder. The other thing is bullets are quite expensive. So the 285 ELD I'm shooting, it cost about $1 per bullet. And the 230 ATIP that I'm shooting out of the 300 also cost about $1. For the same dollar per bullet, I'm able to get higher velocity and higher BC out of that 230 ATIP than I am out of this 285. Now understand, 338 Lapua Magnum, there are some solid copper bullets with very high BCs that will beat the performance of this 285, but in this test, I wanted to use magazine fed, off the shelf, kind of normal bullets that will mag feed. So in my mind, for $1 per bullet, you're getting a little bit more for your money out of the 300. Now that said, 300, it's a barrel burner for sure. But when it comes to reloading components, I like using less powder, and I like that higher BC bullet for the same money. Now from there, primers, brass, that's all kind of a wash in my opinion. The process, it's all kind of the same. But reloading wise, powder's the big one, and the bullets you're getting for the money is a big one. So if it were me, and I were getting into extreme long-range shooting and I wanted to make hits out to a mile, sure, the 338 Lapua Magnum is an awesome round, and it serves a purpose, it has a place, but it's not where I would start. I'd spend my time 300 PRC, 300 Norma Magnum, 300 Win Mag. I love the 300 Magnums for getting out to a mile and beyond. I've got videos with a 300 PRC going out to 2,000 yards and making hits on this same 30-inch plate. So I'm a huge fan of a 300 Magnum. And if you're new to extreme long range or you're wanting to get into extreme long range, that's where I would say to look. 338, there's a ton of rifles out there. It's an awesome caliber, nothing wrong with it. But for the money and for the performance, I think you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck with that 300 Magnum. So anyway, a ton of fun. For me, this is fun. I could probably be a better shooter and make more hits with one versus the other, but from what I'm seeing, it's pretty much a wash for me. One caliber is not holding me back, or one caliber is not allowing me to make drastically more hits than the other. So performance-wise, a wash for me. I'm going to go the 300 PRC route. I think I'm going to hang on to this 338 Lapua Magnum barrel just because it's an awesome caliber. It's a ton of fun to shoot. There's a ton of power, a ton of energy on the target. And I'm going to start playing with some of those solid copper bullets that have the extremely high BC. I want to see if I can go over 2,000 yards with the 338 Lapua Magnum single feeding it. So, man, I appreciate you sticking around this long. If you did, I got some cool news. Madison Armament, who's been hooking me up, kind of a channel partner, use the promo code MUSTACHE, just like I've got right here, and you get a 10% discount off of your order. So a little bit of a reward for those of you that have stuck around. Again, thank you. I hope you join me for my next videos because I got some cool stuff coming up. I'm going to keep shooting this MRAD. I've got some suppressor things coming up. It's going to be a ton of fun. So share this with your buddies. Tell me in the comments, what's your opinion? 338, 300, did I miss something out here? Was I the problem? Am I holding one of these calibers back? Let me know. Join me in the next video. Thank you.